And it was, I have a point. It was, I don't know what it is, but we'll get there.
Welcome to On the Couch. Should we say our names? I'm Josh.
I'm Jocelyn.
I feel like people already know that though, maybe. Maybe they already know that.
They might
That's
not
fine.
care either, so.
Today we're going to talk about relationships. Maybe some advice, maybe some what not to do.
Do you know what I want to get? I want to get an actual button. So I can say hot button and we have an actual button.
Oh, okay. Then we'll work on that. Amazon Prime days are coming up this week.
Put that in the budget.
So we can the budget for this show. A couple of producers' notes. I have to apologize for last time we apologized for how long it had been between episodes.
We're busy people.
and now it just looks like this just might be the regular thing.
Yeah,
you might have to wait a couple weeks. It might just
you
be
gotta leave them wanting more.
That's true.
So
That's true.
You don't want to oversaturate your market.
If you miss us and want to hear more from us, you can rewatch the other episodes.
Oh, that feels like a lot.
Well, I'm just saying. Or I don't know. Maybe create an AI version of us that you can.
No, what are you saying right
That's
now?
the show Ironheart on Disney Plus, the Marvel show. Apparently, she made an AI. I don't know. I didn't actually watch it, but she made an AI of her best friend that had died.
Okay,
I don't know. It's a whole thing.
I
don't even actually know. I didn't actually watch the show.
That's fine.
That's fine. Today's episode is brought to you by joshcoan.com. We got little stickers here.
Wow.
So if you need a sticker, let me know. We got this. We got the On the Couch stickers too.
That is.
Let me know. I got a few copies.
Solid self-promotion.
Yeah, it's a lot of me. So here's the thing. I don't like self-promotion. I'm not the kind of person typically that's gonna like, hey, look at me kind of thing.
Yep.
But my mom is running for school board. Those
Yep.
are the faithful followers should remember that. She's running for school board and she has like yard signs and she, march in a parade and we're wearing t-shirts and stuff. And she's not necessarily
we should wear
into
a
that.
Lorraine Coan t-shirt.
Oh, next time we'll wear that.
They're in the wash.
Yes, because the last parade was very sweaty and gross.
It was hot.
Really hot.
So hot.
But she has her name everywhere, and it's like, because you're not going to win an election if people don't know who you are.
I'm not out here trying to win an election.
I know, but I am trying to grow a business.
Yeah, I suppose.
So if I can give you something that makes it memorable, joshcoan.com, even if it's obnoxious that I have my face on these stickers, hopefully it will help it be more memorable for you. If you have any video needs, I am pursuing video full time, and so reach out, joshcoan.com. I do want to specify it's Coan. If you don't know how to spell my name, I had somebody type it in wrong. En, and that's a very different website with a very different Josh Coan. That is not me. Do not go.
Does that really exist?
Yeah, apparently there's a Coen. And somebody went to that and was like, I don't think this is your website. I was like, no, that's definitely not my website. Funny. So Coan, joshcoan.com.
All right, we get it.
You know what? I got to keep the sponsors happy. We have to. I'm a NASCAR fan, so I grew up watching, you win a race, get out of the car, you read the sponsors on your shirt. You got to keep the sponsors happy. And I'm just trying to keep our sponsors happy. The fact that our sponsors happen to be me is irrelevant to the conversation. Okay. With that, let's talk about some relationship advice.
No, we're not calling it advice.
Oh, what are we calling it?
We're just talking about relationships.
We're going to talk about relationships.
I don't have advice for you.
I mean, I feel like you've probably learned a thing or two. We've been married for almost 13 years.
Okay, here's the thing that I've learned is that a lot of people suck. And
Wait, are you including me in this?
I'm saying that I just happen to pick a really good person that doesn't suck. So
you don't really have...
I don't know what to tell you.
So if you are dating or married to someone who sucks, you don't have advice for them. Nope. Because they just...
That sucks.
Sorry.
I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, if you're dating, you could break up with them if you're married.
Yeah.
Figure it out. I have some actual advice. I did some prep work. Surprise. For those of you that may or may not watch this show, I usually do a little more prep work. So I'm going to list a couple of things that I have learned maybe within our marriage that could help people that are in relationships or looking for relationships to know this stuff ahead of time. You can comment on it, I guess, if you want to, or throw in some of your own advice.
I'll have opinions along the way.
You usually have opinions. That is true. Okay, so the first piece of advice. Oh, I can call it advice.
Well,
Okay.
I guess I don't even know what you have written down.
Okay. That's fine.
So maybe it is someplace. I don't know.
We'll do this. The first thing.
Your first point.
My first point. The first thing that I learned, the most important thing probably that I learned in our marriage, and I did learn very early on in our marriage, was to choose someone, find someone who hears God for themselves. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of conversations within the church about like the man being the head of the household, right? And we can discuss what that means.
Yeah, that's going to be a topic for
maybe at a different time.
I have a lot of thoughts about
Yeah.
that, so we'll talk about that at a different
But I will say this, if you are a man who says, I need to be the head of the household, and so I'm going to hear God and then tell my wife what God says, it's not going to work. For a lot of different reasons, that's not going to work. If you are a woman who thinks, oh, the man is the head of the household, so I'm going to not hear from God, I'm going to let them hear from God and tell me what to do, it's also not going to work. It's very important that you, and there's a Christian term, it's from the Bible, but a Christianese term that we use a lot, it's like unequally yoked. It's not just, it's really not just enough to like, oh, they're also a Christian. Like, do they have that relationship with God where they hear from him for themselves? Quick story, if I have time, if I'm allowed.
You have 60
we'll
seconds.
See. Okay. When we first got married, so we got married because I thought I had life figured out to an extent. I had a job, place to live, what I thought was my dream job. Like, it was great. And you married me and moved out.
I did.
And moved out to North Dakota to be with me because I was there for what I thought was my dream job as a sports reporter up in Grand Forks. And less than 2 months into our marriage, I got laid off and I lost that job. And here we were, a couple of crazy kids out in Grand Forks. And I was just in a position where I was so devastated that I could not hear God.
Yeah.
Like, I just wasn't, not that he wasn't speaking, but I just wasn't in a position where I was hearing anything he had to say. So I drive back they made me drive down to Fargo, get laid off, and then I got to drive back to Grand Forks. So the whole drive back,
rude.
Yeah, very rude. And then he's like, make sure you drop the car off at the station up there. Like, he was like, did you drive the station vehicle down here? I was like, I can't leave the station vehicle. Like, I got to get back up to Grand Forks. Anyways, the whole time back, and then when we get back, I tell her what happened, and I'm like, okay, this is it. We're moving back to the cities. Like, this, I came here for this job. You came here for me for this job. Like, so I just assumed we were just moving back. The dream was dead, whatever. Like, honestly, I was devastated. And for whatever reason, you were like, no, I think we should stay here, which is crazy.
Yeah, because I hated Grand Forks. Still do. To this day.
And we didn't have a reason to stay there. Like, I moved there for that job. Without that job, it wasn't like I was going to go, be a cashier at Target in Grand Forks. There's 1,000 Targets in the Twin Cities. I can work at one of them if that's what I'm going to do. But you heard from God that we were supposed to stay there. I prayed about it. I told God, okay, I'll exhaust my resources, and then when I don't get a job, we're going to move back. And God was like, okay, bet, like, do it. It's like, okay, I knew 2 people in Grand Forks. I emailed the station, the rival station, and then I emailed the sports information director at University of North Dakota because I worked with them. Longer story shorter, even though I've already gone over my 60 seconds, well over, the sports information director gave my name to a guy who worked for the marketing department. They had a sports show on the local cable channel in Grand Forks. He was about to create a position that the next day he was going to go to his boss and say, hey, I need some more help doing this show. And so what happened was I connected with him, interviewed with him that day. Like, after the interview with him was over, he said, come with me. You're going to go with me into my boss's office. And I'm going to say, hey, I want a full-time employee and I want Josh to be him, which is crazy. But it happened within a week. I had a full-time job that was better than what I thought was my dream job. And if I was just like, no, I'm the man of the household, what I say goes, I hear God, and then I tell you what to do, we would have moved back.
We also wouldn't be married.
I was going to say, I would have moved back, or you would have moved back, but maybe not together. It would not have gone well. But this is why, I'll say this, God, you had characteristics this is gonna get really cheesy and really. So
Yeah.
come up with a joke to say after
My
this.
goodness.
No, come up with a joke after this. We'll lighten things.
I'm not good on the spot.
I know you're the comic relief though. You're supposed
I'm not good
you're
on the
supposed to.
spot.
You're the comic relief. But you have so many things that I didn't know I needed, but God did.
Ugh, stop being so obsessed with me.
I'm so sorry, but I thought you were cute. I thought you were fun. Like you had a lot of good qualities, right? But I didn't know how well you handled adversity, and that was so important. I didn't know that I knew you were a Christian. I knew what you believed, but I didn't know that you had that kind of relationship with God to the extent that it did. And so the fact that, or even how strong you are, like the fact that you would have left me if I would have tried to say.
Maybe would have left you, but.
I probably would have been moving back with a black eye at least. Just kidding. She doesn't beat me. Sorry, I shouldn't joke about that, huh?
I think you should be done talking. My goodness.
I'll edit that out, okay? I'll edit that out. It's a lot of work. Okay, so that's so my point here. The first thing I learned in our marriage, and maybe the most important thing I learned in our marriage, is anything that I would tell to somebody who is looking to get married or looking to date, like find someone that hears God for themselves. Agreed?
Agreed. I don't have anything to add.
Nothing to that? Okay.
Oh, you talked long enough.
Yeah, I know, but that's then you need to talk to balance it out so it's not just me talking the whole time.
I know, but I have nothing to say about that.
Okay. What was that experience like for you?
I don't want to. No, we don't need to talk more about this experience.
Okay.
Although I will say, actually, I do have something to say.
I'm gonna get some water. You talk for a bit.
Along the same point, but who you marry matters. Because we've seen it a few times, but there's one instance specifically that we've talked about recently where I could have told this person this is not a good idea to marry this other person. This is so.
I thought we were going in a different direction. That's fine. Keep going. We don't know.
Interesting. What direction did you think we were
going?
Well,
no. Finish what you're
Anyways.
saying. I was going to go a positive direction.
Oh, this is not a positive
somebody who married the right person and it ended up being good. Like but you can.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyways.
I'll explain it afterward, but not with their names, so nobody knows.
Okay. Well, anyways, they definitely should not have married. Well, he should not have married this girl. It'll be just get too confusing if I keep saying this person. And then they just, I mean, I'm trying to. It didn't go well. Okay, something traumatic happened. There were some other things happening, and they, made some really poor life decisions. And if I just feel like I know that if they would have been married to somebody who was able to, maybe they still would have made these decisions, but I really think that because the person that was in their life was not able to speak into their lives when it came to spiritual matters and just in general logistical matters, that it just led them down like a really crappy path. So that was probably a really bad story because I was trying to keep it so
because you can't
vague.
give very good details. But
moral of the story is don't marry a sucky person.
Yes,
that's my advice.
That is a moral of a story. That seems harsh and kind of
Life
vague. Like, what does that mean to be a sucky person? But no, similar situation. I was thinking of someone that I recently had a conversation with, who him and his spouse went through something, but because they were holding each other accountable and talking through stuff, like they got through this and they're doing better than ever, and their relationship with God is strong, their relationship with each other is stronger. Like they're in a really good spot because when they went through something difficult, they had each other to kind of like, and I was talking to this person, I was like, if I had, I'm not going to go into a whole bunch of details, whatever, but if I had like thought similar things or said similar things, you would have set me straight. Yeah. Like there's no way that I could.
I did set you straight. That was the point of your story.
Well, in that instance, yes. Yeah. Yes, but that's the only time I've ever said anything. All right, let's move on to point 2,
because you got a lot of points over there, and I'm trying to eat dinner.
We need to time these better because you are always
Can
hungry
you
every
edit
time we
me
record these.
itching my eye out because I feel like that's probably really gross.
No, I think that's what the people want to see. Give the people what they want to see. You
No, if
scratching
Kanisha
your
watches this,
eye.
she's gonna freak out. She doesn't like eyeballs.
Oh, that's true. And she probably will watch this because she likes us. At least likes you and I'm next to you. Okay, my second point, another thing that I learned in our wonderful marriage is...
These are all really like serious. I thought this was gonna be
I
more
told you had to
funny.
bring the comic relief.
Oh,
I also
really?
showed you this at the time, so you knew what we were going to talk about.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, you did.
You'll have to find some jokes in there. If something bothers you in a relationship, you have to say something. If it doesn't bother you enough to say something, then you have to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
So one example that, I heard a lot when like you're getting ready to get married and, pre-marriage counseling with pastors or whatever. It's like,
Wait, can I go? Because I have an example.
okay, is it a fun example?
Yeah. I
Okay,
think
mine wasn't fun. Mine's about
That's why-
toothpaste. So
That's why I think that.
you assumed that mine wasn't fun, so you're like,
Yes, because you're being
let me
very
jump.
serious right now.
Okay.
Here's an example. Whenever I make any sort of noise, you go, "Are you okay?" Like I can be like, and he'll be like, "Are you okay?"
I'm concerned for your well-being.
Exactly. And it honestly annoyed me for a really long time because I was like, I'm not dying. Like, come on. But then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? It is nice that he cares enough
I do care about you.
that if I, had fallen and hurt myself, that he cares enough to check on me.
Yes.
So I let it go.
Okay.
Because it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
That's my example.
That's a good example.
Does that fit into your...
Yeah, no, that fits perfectly. I was thinking like the toothpaste thing, like where do you squeeze the toothpaste? Like if it bothers you,
Oh,
whatever.
that's dumb.
I was thinking of like people that put the toilet paper on backwards.
Oh, yeah, but those are like...
I know, but well, your mom watches this, but your mom puts on the toilet paper.
The back,
wrong. She puts it on the wrong way.
Yeah.
It doesn't, because I don't have to like live with her. It doesn't bother me. I'm fine. I can ignore it for the week that we're down in Oklahoma.
We also don't share a bathroom with her when we're there, so you can just switch it.
That's true. It's the first time when we get there initially, it's on backwards. And then after that, it's not. But if you did that, that would be a problem for me, and I would have to say something.
Yeah.
If you put the toilet paper on
I
wrong.
just think that most things in life, I do have a lot of strong opinions. But like a lot of things in life, I really just don't care. It's just really not that serious. So I think if you fought me on doing it the other way, I just really wouldn't care.
But that's the thing though, is I think some people they dig in their
These
heels
are the things that they fight about,
really
and
stupid
it's...
stuff, and you're like, or they ignore it and they're married for years and they're unhappy, and it's like it's a little thing. If you'd have just said something, I would have done it.
Mm-hmm.
But how can they? And this is marriage, obviously we're talking about, but like friendships, relationships, like.
In general.
When I was doing the internship, I remember having a conversation with somebody, and an intern was doing something that bothered them. And I said, if it bothers you, you have to tell them, because they probably have no idea.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue doing it because they think it's funny.
Did you know that it annoys me when you ask if I'm okay every time?
No, I feel like there's been times when you were like, you seemed annoyed about it. But in my defense, you're not clumsy. That's not the word I would choose. I just don't have a better word right now. And sometimes you drop things or run into things or that's just noise.
Yes, but I'm also very durable.
That's true. That is true. You have made it so far. So yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
doing
tough.
fine.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
a tough
tough. Okay.
I might have bruises, but I'm fine.
These are all too serious now. I feel bad. So
Yes.
the next one was just you have to put her needs before your own, right? And so I know that's like a cliche thing, whatever that people say, but honestly, if you're married now, I'm not talking about necessarily dating, because I think people can get into toxic relationships because they're like, oh no, I need to love them and I need to go over and do all this for them, and like this person's not reciprocating that at all. That's a problem. But in a marriage, in a successful marriage, 13 years, I'll call it successful, all right?
Eh.
Done all right. But in a successful marriage,
We're not at 13 yet. We have a month to go.
you don't think we're gonna make it?
I'm just saying we have a month to go.
It's a faith statement. I believe in faith that we'll make it to next month when our 13th anniversary is. Almost 13 years, we've made it. And now what am I talking about? I don't know what does my note say? Put her needs first.
Put her needs
So
first.
I don't have to worry about if my needs are going to get taken care of because you're thinking about my needs. So I can take care of your needs and put your needs first because I know mine are being taken care of by you because you're looking at my needs, right? That's what I'm talking about. And you have to have a healthy relationship to do that because if I was only thinking about your needs and you were selfish and didn't think about mine, then my needs would never get met. And it would be hard for me to continue. Either I'd continue to do that, which is very, very toxic, very difficult, not healthy at all. Or I would start to like, okay, well, I got to take care of myself. So I'm going to think about me and my needs, and then your needs might not be met. Or, I mean, a marriage is not two people that live in the same house and then seek their own needs and their own desires. Like I'm seeking your needs and desires, you're seeking mine. Together, we're taken care of.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Anything to say?
No.
Any jokes or comic relief
to be honest, I zoned out for a second. I'm with you though. It's a good
well,
point.
hopefully the audience is still paying attention.
I got distracted.
By what?
My brain.
There is a lot of cool stuff in here. Someday I'll show you guys all of the cool stuff.
A lot of stuff.
There's
This is not my domain.
No. In case you haven't noticed, producers note, this is
I don't know how
my
much they can see.
area. I mean, you could see, probably not a ton. You can see the shoes, obviously. Those are mine. You can see, what else? Some little toy cars, basketball hoop, hats. That's my stuff. Yeah.
I got nothing up here.
I
brought up these pillows.
Yeah, they can't even see them, so I don't.
Oh, that's why I showed them.
I know, but they don't care
Well,
about pillows.
I would like to think that some of them care about my comfort, and I am more
I don't think they
comfortable.
do. I don't. Maybe your mom is probably watching. She
Yeah.
cares.
Probably my mom.
Your dad cares, but he probably didn't think about that.
No. I don't know if he watched this.
Oh, probably not. And Kanisha cares.
I don't know if Kanisha watches this either.
Kanisha doesn't watch.
I don't know. I haven't asked her. I haven't talked to her about it.
Kanisha better watch. She better watch. If she could tell you this, Kanisha, you can watch and you can just crop me out and just watch Jocelyn. I think she'd enjoy that more. Okay, my last point so far. We'll see. I might think of some more stuff. I don't know. I got a lot cooking right now.
It's concerning.
In-laws matter. Families matter. And I think it's a great show. Family Matters. But I think it's very cliche, but most things are cliche for a reason.
You know how your interns banned you from saying things so many times?
Yeah.
Can I ban you from saying it's cliche? Because I think you've done that on every single one of your points.
No, I've not. No
Well,
way.
at least the last two. That's as far back as I can remember. But at least the last two, you said it was cliche.
Okay.
But it's cliche for a reason.
But it is. Cliches are for a reason, like, because they work. And so people continue to say them and use them because they're true. Mm-hmm. But you don't just marry
12
the
years,
person.
11 months is a good run.
Don't.
It's just a joke. It's just a joke. You can edit it out. You told me to be the comic
I can
relief.
edit out of the video. I can't edit out of my heart.
I'm so sorry. You told me to be the comic relief.
So the person you date and eventually marry, potentially, their family matters too. Mm-hmm. Like, and not just in it's tricky, but like you have to just think about it. I'm not saying that they have to have necessarily the greatest family either, but if they like their family and spend a lot of time with their family, you better get along with their family because you're going to have to spend a lot of time. And if they don't like their family and they don't get along with their family, you probably should figure out why, because there might be more. And I'm not saying it's their, I mean, it may be their family is just crazy, but then you might have to deal with crazy in-laws. Maybe you don't have to see them very often, but they might, you know what I'm saying? Like, just think about the family. I am very blessed with amazing in-laws.
Yeah, you better be nice.
And I'm saying that because your mom for sure watches this. But I think about, we just went down to Oklahoma and we stayed with your parents.
Oh, did you ever tell them why we were gone for so long, or did we get distracted?
No, I guess we got distracted. We were down in Oklahoma.
We were out of town.
We're out of town.
That's why
So
we're
we
down.
didn't bring all of this equipment with us to go while we're out of town. That doesn't make sense. Why would we do that?
No. My mom wanted us to shoot a podcast while we were down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, she could have been on.
That's what I said. And she said, no, I just wanted to watch it.
She can watch the video
I don't know.
later.
I think we should have had her on, though. She's a very smart woman.
She is. Next time. Not next time, but like sometime we'll put her on the podcast. Once she start having guests, we'll need either me leave it or a different couch, bigger couch or something. It's not really made for 3 people. You got me off track again. You're supposed to keep me on track. Your jobs are to keep me on track and comic relief. How's that going?
I'm being funny. We're in Oklahoma.
Oh, we're in Oklahoma and we're staying with your family. And I am incredibly thankful for my in-laws because I do think, especially staying with them for a week, like if I didn't like them or if they didn't like me, like it might be a pretty funny movie. There's been a lot of movies made about that concept.
Yeah.
But in TV shows and things. But how I'm very fortunate, and your in-laws are pretty amazing too.
Yeah.
I will say. They live closer.
Which is also good because we spend a lot of time with them, I feel like.
Yeah, we actually spend more time with your in-laws, I feel like, even though...
I don't think that's
with my
true.
in-laws. I mean, with your family, even though they live in Oklahoma.
I don't think that's true. We've been on the campaign trail with your mom, so we've been spending a lot of time with your parents.
That's true. We have been on the campaign trail.
Yeah.
with my mom.
Also a good thing that you like my parents, because I am very much like my parents.
Yes.
So if you didn't like them, that would not work out.
Which
well
is
for
just
me.
so much fun. I don't know how many of you guys watching know her parents, Kevin and Don Jelly, but every time we go down there and spend time with them, I'm just so incredibly amazed at how much you are exactly like them.
Yeah.
Both of them, but not at the same time. You're not a mix of the two. You are either all Kevin or all Don. And it fluctuates like in an instant, right? Like, let's go get a treat. You're Kevin. Donuts, ice cream, whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, you love it. And then you spill some on yourself, probably. And then, I'm trying to think of stuff that... Oh, one of the things that you do that your mom does is you sing...
Random things.
You sing songs even when you don't know the lyrics. So you just, like, make up stuff or just sing, like, noises.
Mm-hmm. Or we just make up songs.
Yeah. Or you
Sometimes
just make up songs.
Yeah. Or we either don't finish our sentences or we start in the middle of the thought.
Yeah, or you walk out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Or you finish the sentence in your own head, but I don't know what you said.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the rest of the sentence was.
Yeah.
But you've, like, answered your own question, so you've moved on. And I'm like, I don't know. That's a Don Jelly thing.
Yeah.
That is definitely something your mom does.
Yeah.
Talking while you yawn. That's something that I've learned. That was one of the first things your mom said to me when we started dating, was that I needed to learn how to understand what you're saying when you yawn. And for the most part, I've gotten pretty good.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, you do a good job.
Although I still think it wouldn't be that hard to finish your yawn and then go back to talking so that people can understand you. But that's all right. See, what other notes do I have down here?
I don't know.
Some of the things that help us navigate in-laws, because our in-laws are great, but you still got to navigate it. In my family, before we even got married, my family already had a set like rotation of Christmases and Thanksgiving, like every other year, which is great. I don't know if I can call it advice, but we didn't have a choice. We just had to do this.
Yeah, we didn't.
But I think it's
You were the last to get married in your family.
Yes,
so
and my other 3 siblings were already on this rotation, and it was hard the first Christmas that we were together because my family was on, and your family still lived in Minnesota. So then we went and visited them part of the day. My siblings got mad. It was a whole thing. It wasn't that big of a deal, but we jumped into the rotation, and that makes it so much easier when I think about. I mean, growing up, my parents. Both of their parents, all my grandparents lived in Brooklyn Center. So we would go do both every holiday. It wasn't a big deal at all. But I know people who have their in-laws are like up in Brainerd and they have to drive a couple hours for like part of the day and still spend. And it's like, it can be a mess and it can cause fights and it can be a big deal. That's one that I don't think we've really had to worry too much about. I think we've
we didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
We had to.
But I would say that's a good thing to do if you're getting married.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe have some sort of preset rotation on who gets what holidays.
I do think it would be different if my parents still lived in the area and not out of state. Because now, when you have to travel out of state to visit one of them, it's a bigger deal and you kind of have to have...
It's an all or nothing kind of thing.
Yeah, which is how it is for most of your siblings. Because a lot of your siblings, their spouses were out of state too.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that played a part into that rotation.
Yeah.
But if my parents were still here, I would imagine we'd probably...
But I think even when they were here, we had a rotation of like Christmas. Any Christmas things my family does, we would be with my family.
Yeah.
We would still celebrate with your family later on the day before, the day after, or if my family's Christmas morning, then after lunch when my family's not doing it, which is what caused the problem the first year, because we left after the festivities were over and we're all sitting around watching the same movie over and over again because the kids, right? Was that the year that?
No.
Oh, that was a different year. I'm not a parent, so I shouldn't. I'm not. Okay, no. Well, now I have to finish it because people are gonna say. I think when you have kids, like give them options of what to watch.
Don't give them options. They have too many options.
I know, but just give them a couple.
Streaming service has too many options.
Don't say like pick whatever you want, because there was one Christmas apparently before you were in the family that they got Meet the Robinsons for Christmas, and they watched it. We watched it like 6 times on Christmas Day. First time I was like, oh, this is better than I thought it was gonna be, but then it just kept getting worse, and I was like, once you've seen it once, like the twist, I don't know if you've seen the movie. Yeah. There's a twist, and like once I got it, I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. And now I'm just watching it over and over again, and that was a traumatic experience for me, I guess.
May I want to talk to somebody about that? Seems like it's really stuck with you.
It seems like it is. Maybe I will bring that up in my next therapy session. Similar note, we have decided that when it's your family, you decide when it's time to leave. I think has been helpful. I think there are some times when you're not getting my hint, and I am like, we should go.
With my family or with your family?
My family.
Well, you are the decider.
I know. I'm supposed to stand up and say, okay, let's go. But
yeah, you're the decider. That's not my job to.
I know.
So why are you saying I'm not getting the hint?
It's my fault. I need to be more decisive in my demonstrative. I need to just say it, not give hints. Maybe that's
tell me. Are you ready to go?
Something else that I learned in marriage. You need to be, you need to communicate clearly, and you can't just drop hints and hope that they'll pick it up, because they probably won't.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. On the subject of in-laws, I have written in my notes. Actually, one of the first things that we talked about before we were even dating, that I was like, oh, that's cool, is that your parents took people into their house. Like they had different people live with them if they needed a place to live. And my parents had done the same. And I just remember thinking, like when we had talked about this conversation years ago, I was like, oh, that's important to me. And not everybody gets that. I know people who were like, no way can other people stay in my house. Like they're just whatever. And my parents I always had a very open house. And so I remember talking with you about that. So that's one of those things where like you're marrying their family or like their upbringing, like how they were raised.
Yeah. Well, I think we had similar upbringings, and I think that definitely made things a little bit easier for us. Yeah.
And I think that's something that we didn't even really have to. We did talk about a little bit, but it wasn't like we didn't have to like figure out this very big difficult thing, because if you weren't used to that, I might invite someone to stay that needed a place to stay, and I didn't realize how crazy of a thing that was, that my parents did that quite often, and apparently you didn't either, because your parents just did that too.
Oh yeah,
which is fine. Do you have any other thoughts, ideas, notes? I know you want to probably eat dinner soon. I think that's all I kind of had pre-prepared. Oh, here's some. This is advice, clear from the throne room of heaven.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm not. This is. Do not marry a Packers fan. And I say that not from experience, because thank God I did not. But people ask me, because I'm obviously a big sports fan. Minnesota, I love the Vikings. Hate the Packers. Like I can get over just about anything else but the Packers. And I've had these conversations with people, and they ask me like, if Jocelyn was a Packers fan, would you still have married her? And honestly, no. I love you so much, but I could not imagine spending my life with a Packers fan. I just couldn't. And this is one of those, it's a big deal to me. You might not care. I know people, Vikings fans that have married Packers fans, and I think that's insane. But like, okay, I guess if you don't care, whatever. But like, I could not imagine being married. Like, I just couldn't. And I would never, like, you need to have boundaries for yourself. You need to know what you can do and what you can't do.
You're really trying to make this a solid point. Huh?
It's a very solid point. Mm-hmm. Was it 2 Super Bowls ago when you were cheering for the 49ers over the Chiefs, but you were doing it quietly?
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, the Chiefs are, my dad grew up from Missouri. I'm just saying
about the Chiefs.
I'm just saying, like,
fandom.
they're not like
this
my
is not
number one
sports podcast. Although I am wearing my everyone watches women's sports because everyone doesn't, but that's the point. They should,
everyone
especially
should.
in Minnesota.
You're missing out
because there are only championship winning teams.
Yes,
Both the Lynx, who had a nice little dynasty run and should have won last year, they were robbed, and I'm not over it. And our PWHL team.
Yes.
The Frost.
If you are a Minnesota sports fan and you're not watching women, you're missing out.
Yes.
Because the women are
Plus,
actually
women's basketball is better basketball.
It is. It is. They're not better athletes. Of course not. But the
you'd have to say it like that. Of course not.
Rudy Gobert is 7'3".
I understand on a physical level. It is
that's
different.
This is what I'm saying.
I know, it's the way you
I'm sorry. I apologize for my tone. But it's a cleaner game. They don't travel. They don't complain as much to the refs. They pass the ball. Movement. They're running offense.
They play better basketball.
They still shoot the mid range.
They don't just play ISO and then pull it for a 3.
Yeah, it's honestly it's better basketball.
Yes. You know what? That's a really side note. But I'm watching old episodes of Survivor. Thanks to my dad. That's something I get from my dad. And the old seasons are kind of boring, but I was watching the one season, I think it was season 6, that's it was boys versus girls. And I think I said it was
your hair's kind of,
well, it just kind of does what it wants, and
that's fine.
We just go along for the ride.
No,
it's boys versus girls.
That's why I shave my head. I just don't have to worry about it. Then I can.
Should I shave my head? No.
Sure.
Do you know how badly my head would get sunburned if I shaved it?
Yeah.
That'd be brutal. But it's boys versus girls, and it was early 2000s. I think it was shot in either 2002 or 2003, and it was. I have a point. It was. I don't know what it is, but we'll get there. It was. These. Which one I think the level of sexism that was in this season was wild. We have come a long way in 20 years. Let me tell you what. But all of these guys thought that they were just gonna like get to the end of the show because they thought these women don't have a chance in the challenges. And the women, I only got a couple episodes in and then I got bored with it. But
which is another thing that I feel like you get from your dad.
The women won 3 out of the 4 challenges, and the guys were just like dismayed. How could they possibly have beaten us?
Yes. That just reminded me, that's another thing you get from your dad. You get bored with things like snacks. You'll see snacks look fun, and you'll buy them, and you'll eat like things. 2 of them, and then they sit in our cupboard for 20 years. Snack
companies need to make more like smaller portions. You know what I mean? Because I like to try new things.
Yes. How many half granola bars? They're not there anymore. I don't know if you ate them.
No, because I eat them eventually.
But at one point there was 4 or 5 half granola bars sitting in our kitchen.
There's 4, and sometimes I don't need a full protein bar. So more companies need to make mini protein bars, like the Perfect bars. It's a great size.
Yeah.
More companies need to do that. I don't need a whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. Companies, if you're watching.
Anyways, relationships. I don't.
Did you make your point on Survivor?
I don't know.
Men are sexist? Is that what your point was?
Women are great. That was my point.
Survivor's one of those things that I don't like. We need to communicate with this. I don't like Survivor. And so we have to figure out, like, compromise. Today I let you watch some sort of... Listen.
I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you restart that.
You watched Survivor earlier in the day so that I could watch. So you could let me watch NASCAR later in the day. So it's compromise sometimes, even, and so we learn to share things. But you got to communicate. If I really don't like Survivor, but I had to tell her that so that she knows. Otherwise, she would just.
You're really trying to make a point out of this, aren't you?
I have great points all of the time.
You are really good at making a point
thank you.
out of anything.
Yes.
I just don't have a point. I just want to say it.
Which is fine too. What's the Andy on The Office? And he's like, not everything needs to be said. Sometimes it's just about the beauty of a conversation.
I don't remember that line.
Because him and Jim are on a sales call, or so when they go to the school because of the watermark thing. And Jim is like.
And he's dating the high schooler?
Yes, but he says, let's do a good job in there. And Jim's like, did that really need to be said? And Andy said, not everything needs to be said. It's just about the beauty of a conversation.
It's the beauty of a conversation.
Exactly. That's the lesson. That's really the overarching lesson of this, the beauty of a conversation.
Yeah, I don't know if this conversation had beauty in it, but...
I think it did. I think...
You made some really great points.
Thanks, babe. I appreciate that. You did as well. You did a really good job today.
No, you really what's the word? You really like...
I don't know what that is.
You really like led the team. What?
Carried? Do kids still say that? Carried? Like, I carried today.
I don't know. I'm old. I don't know what kids say, but
that's
the word I was looking for. You really carried the team today.
Yes. Yeah.
Good job, baby.
Like Allen Iverson in 2001, he carried them all the way to the finals.
Just like that. That's you.
Just like that. Well, I should have picked somebody that actually won the finals. Probably would have been a better. But nobody carried like Allen Iverson in 2001. I'm just saying. Final thought. All right.
I got nothing.
That's it.
I got nothing.
Okay. Thanks for watching. We're going to go eat some dinner.
Yeah.
Bye.